This adventurous story begins by showing a few students studying in a kung fu school. All of them were advancing by following their unique techniques. Each student had completed years of kung fu training, and now they were finally able to control it. There were different types of schools in this place, and there was always competition among them to determine who was the best. For now, we are shown one particular school where many children studied. Among them was a boy named Zhang, who was quite weak. Despite years of training, Zhang had still not learned properly. Compared to Zhang, the other students had progressed far ahead. They had mastered their internal energy and kung fu techniques well. Zhang, meanwhile, was serving food to the masters. As soon as he brought the food, all the masters and students eagerly pounced on it. But Zhang was a good person and had never done anything wrong to anyone. This kind-hearted nature was something everyone appreciated about him. Then a woman named Tiang arrives at the scene. She is the daughter of the school's master. Seeing her, Zhang is taken aback, as it seems he has a liking for her. However, Tiang had never given any hints to Zhang. All the masters and students sat down to eat, and they even started talking to Zhang, advising him to stay more focused. The master also explained to Zhang that after so many years, he must now push himself to bring out his internal energy. It is revealed that Tiang was Zhang's childhood friend. She had always guided him and given him extra training so that he too could become a great martial artist. One day, Zhang and Tiang were training together. Tiang told Zhang many things and asked him to focus. But poor Zhang would get distracted every time he looked at Tiang's face. He just couldn't concentrate. Suddenly, a memory from 15 years ago strikes Zhang's mind, disturbing him greatly. When Tiang asked him for the truth, Zhang took her to his village to tell her everything. He said it all started 15 years ago when he was very young and traveling with his brother to their village. As they approached the village territory, a strange lightning bolt struck the area. It turned out to be a kung fu master, one who was extremely cruel and had come to take over the village. At that time, Zhang's father was a renowned kung fu master. He could not allow any invader to wreak havoc in the village. So, he confronted the cruel man and started fighting him. The invader wore a mask, so Zhang couldn't see his face. During the battle, Zhang's father almost defeated him. But that sorcerer struck down lightning from the sky and destroyed even them. Half the village was devastated, and many people were killed. When Zhang and a few of his friends entered the village, they discovered that the same unknown man soldiers had arrived and killed his family members. Every single member of the village was now dead. Zhang couldn't understand anything, but a strong sense of rage started building inside him. He made a promise to himself that no matter what, he would find and kill that unknown man, even if it meant doing whatever it takes. When Tiang's father learned about this incident, he came there along with his daughter and others. Zhang knew that Tiang's father was a great master, so he fell at his feet and begged for training. He said he wanted to become a great kung fu master and avenge his family. That moment marked the beginning of Zhang and Tiang's friendship. From then on, Master took Zhang into his school. But even to this day, Zhang still doesn't know who those enemies were that destroyed his family. If he ever meets them again, he will surely fight and take his revenge. Tiang understands all this and tries to comfort Zhang completely. Now, in the present time, we are shown many schoolmasters gathering together to discuss something important. One of them was a lady master, and she proposed that to boost the morale of their students, they should organize a competition. This kind of competition used to be held once every year. All the masters agreed to the idea. The lady master then announced that a student from her school, named Choi, would also participate in the competition. Upon hearing this, all the students got excited, because Choi wasn't just beautiful, she was also extremely powerful. Even Zhang, along with a few of his friends, went to see Choi's training. Everyone was going crazy seeing her beauty. When Zhang saw her for the first time, he was completely stunned. His friends were also enjoying the moment, teasing him. But because there were too many of them crowding forward, they started pushing and stumbling, and Zhang was the one who fell in front. Because it looked like they had snuck in like intruders, Choi's guards caught Zhang and tortured him harshly. To punish him, they even placed laughing bugs on his body, because of which Zhang couldn't stop laughing uncontrollably. After returning, it was Tiang who took care of Zhang. One by one, she removed all the tiny bugs and applied a special oil to his body. This oil was extremely rare, it was extracted from a strange creature. But somehow, Tiang managed to get it and used it to heal Zhang. Zhang now started feeling that Tiang must also have feelings for him. After all, she cared for him so much. And maybe now, Zhang would finally confess his love to her. Zhang then walks over to the riverbank and lets out a loud, intense shout. Suddenly, the water started stirring, and a huge dragon emerged from it. This dragon was Zhang's friend, who had been living in that sea for many years. After his training, Zhang would sometimes come to visit him and would also bring some food, something that made the dragon very happy. Zhang shared everything with this dragon, even his feelings about Tiang, how he liked her, and, if he ever got the chance, he would confess his love to her. The dragon supported Zhang completely in this journey. A little while later, when Zhang went to meet Tiang, she brought something for him. It was actually a book of fighting techniques that her father had preserved for a long time. Tiang wanted Zhang to study it and improve his skills, especially since every student had to participate in the upcoming competition. She didn't want Zhang to perform poorly. But Zhang was expecting something entirely different. He thought maybe Tiang was going to confess her feelings to him. Poor Zhang couldn't express his own love, and on top of that, his fighting skills were still weak. Still, setting all of that aside, Zhang started practicing even harder. The competition was only a few days away, and he had to prepare himself. At the very least, he didn't want to lose miserably in front of Tiang. While Zhang was training with deep focus, he suddenly remembered something. The locket he wore had been given to him by his father. He even had visions of how his father had once explained that the red stone in the locket was extremely powerful. Whoever could control it would become the most powerful of all. But there was a catch. This stone could also control others, and even affect the host wearing it. Zhang's father had clearly warned, if you ever find yourself unable to control this, remove it immediately and throw it into a ravine. Because it can become the cause of a massive war someday. Zhang, being forgetful, had still been wearing the stone around his neck all this time. Upon remembering his father's words, he rushed to throw the stone off a cliff. But just before he could do that, a monkey appeared and started distracting him. That monkey seemed determined to take the stone. Zhang tried to drive it away, but it kept bothering him. Then the stone around Zhang's neck began glowing intensely red. The monkey made every effort to snatch the stone and escape. But Zhang couldn't let go of the last remaining memory of his father. He too fought back with full strength to protect the stone. Suddenly, the monkey pushed Zhang off the cliff. Zhang lost control and fell straight into the water, and he didn't even know how to swim. As he started drowning, the red stone began glowing even more intensely. Then, unexpectedly, it activated and began pulling Zhang upward, trying to save his life. Clearly, it had incredible powers. Meanwhile, the monkey was still up there, now furious. In his rage, he leapt and bit Zhang on the hand. Blood started dripping from Zhang's hand, and a few drops landed directly on the red stone. It now appeared that the stone was absorbing Zhang's blood. As this happened, within moments, a magical stick emerged from the sea and began flying rapidly through the air. As soon as the stick flew up, the stone around Zhang's neck also flew up and merged with it. Zhang had no idea how to retrieve his stone, but now, that magical stick from the sea and the stone had combined into a single, highly developed weapon. The light emitting from it was intense, so bright it could be seen from very far away. Even the schoolmasters were shocked to witness it. Some of them seemed to recognize what it was. One of the masters said, if that weapon has returned, then the Demon King will surely come to claim it. On the other side, the Demon King was shown, sitting with many of his followers. He too noticed the light of the weapon and instantly realized it was the weapon. No matter what, he now wanted to get it. He sent one of his top aides immediately to retrieve it. Meanwhile, the weapon flew straight to Zhang, who caught it in his hands. But then, he noticed the little monkey was stuck in a swamp. As we know, Zhang was a kind-hearted person, so using the magical stick, he helped rescue the monkey and saved its life. The monkey, in its own way, expressed gratitude to Zhang. Just as Zhang was about to leave with the magical stick, a mysterious lady suddenly snatched it from him and ran away. Thankfully, Zhang managed to grab her leg and tried to pull her down. The woman was a skilled fighter and began beating Zhang quite fiercely. But just in time, Jiang and Shui arrived to help. Together, they fought off the mysterious woman and forced her to flee. Zhang got his magical stick back. However, he still hadn't told anyone the truth about this stick. Zhang also noticed something unusual. The bite marks on his hand from the monkey were completely gone. They had healed. Perhaps this was another power of the stick. Zhang then returned home. Later that night, as Zhang slept peacefully, that same mysterious lady sneaked into his house. Her name was Lena, and she had been assigned the mission to steal the magical stick. Seizing the opportunity, Lena grabbed the stick and tried to escape. But the stick began reacting and flew right back to Zhang. No matter how many times Lena tried to take it, the stick wouldn't let her. It was clear that the stick had now bonded with Zhang. No force could separate them. Zhang, still sleeping deeply, remained unaware of all this. By morning, he caught a glimpse of that lady, Lena, who quickly fled from the scene. Despite everything, Zhang didn't tell his masters anything about the events. The next morning, he returned to his school. So, the masters announced that Zhang would also participate in the competition, and not just in any round, but in their most special round, where only the top-tier fighters competed. Zhang felt happy but also confused. He had neither good fighting skills nor any real experience. Still, everyone around him was thrilled by his promotion. After a while, Li, an old friend of Zhang's, arrived. He had come to discuss something related to the competition and walked ahead to speak with the masters. But the moment Tiang saw Li, she suddenly jumped at him, wanting to test her fighting abilities. After a short sparring match, both of them calmed down. But now Zhang realized something painful: Tiang seemed to like Li. This realization completely broke Zhang's heart. Feeling disappointed, he quietly walked away. Just then, Zhang noticed someone. It was Lena, the same mysterious woman from before. Some people were chasing her. They were masters from her own village. Apparently, Lena had been caught stealing, and now they wanted to punish her. Without hesitation, Zhang ran after Lena and hid her in a cave to keep her safe. Even though she had tried to steal his magical stick earlier, Zhang treated even his enemies kindly. Inside the cave, Zhang started a small fire for them to keep warm. They had to stay there until the masters outside went away. Lena, once again, tried to steal the stick while Zhang was distracted, but it was impossible. The stick was now bonded to Zhang and wouldn't separate from him. Zhang went out briefly to get some food for Lena. When he returned, she tried to attack him, but stopped herself after remembering Zhang's kindness. Eventually, they had a real conversation and began to bond. They slowly became good friends. The next day, the long-awaited competition finally began. Students from many schools had gathered. Among them were Tiang and Shui, considered two of the top students. Once all the masters arrived, they explained the first round. Multiple magical balls would be thrown into the air. Out of all the students, 30 would be selected to move forward. But there was a twist: whoever caught the number 1 ball would directly advance to the second round, skipping the first round entirely. The balls were launched into the sky. Every student who had awakened their internal power tried to fly and grab them. But poor Zhang hadn't learned to use his powers yet. He couldn't even lift off the ground. While he watched the others fly, Zhang spotted a ball lying on the ground. As he went to pick it up, Tiang secretly swapped her own ball with Zhang's. When Zhang looked at the ball he picked up, he was stunned. It was the number 1 ball. That meant he had directly entered the second round. Zhang, confused, went to Tiang and asked, "Why did you give me your ball?" Tiang replied, "I don't want to go to the second round just by luck. I want to earn it through my own efforts." She wanted to become even stronger to win the entire competition, so she chose to go the hard way. Soon, the first round officially began. Every selected student was giving their absolute best. Shui, too, was performing extremely well, defeating one opponent after another. But as she kept pushing forward, her body started to weaken. At one point, she even began to bleed. Seeing this, Shui's master approached her and warned her not to continue like this. But Shui wasn't the type to give up easily. Her master eventually gave her some medicine, which helped her recover and continue fighting. Those who successfully cleared the first round moved on. Then, the next day, it was Zhang's turn to fight. Zhang was up against another student, and he had nothing but the magical stick to rely on. As the battle began, Zhang was initially losing. But thanks to the magical stick, he slowly began to fight better. In the end, he won the match. Later, during lunch, their master made an announcement: many of their school's students had been eliminated. Now, only Zhang and Tiang were left. Everyone was shocked, especially since they had expected Zhang to be the first one to get out. The next day, the second round began. Zhang's opponent was none other than his best friend, Li. At the same time, Tiang was fighting Shui. These were the last remaining players. Zhang wasn't fighting too seriously, because Li was his friend. But Li wanted to win no matter what, and he didn't hold back at all. Meanwhile, in the fight between Tiang and Shui, Shui completely dominated. No matter how good Tiang was, she wasn't perfect like Shui. In the end, Shui defeated her. Zhang, meanwhile, was close to losing. But then, in a moment of desperation, he brought out his magical stick. It suddenly activated and began attacking Li with great speed, eventually defeating him. Everyone watching assumed that Zhang had finally unlocked his internal powers. He was fighting better than ever. But only Zhang knew the truth: it wasn't because of him, it was all the magical stick's doing. Frustrated and guilty, Zhang threw the stick away in anger. Now, all the students and even the master surrounded Zhang, asking him questions. The master seemed upset. If Zhang had truly awakened his internal powers, why hadn't he told anyone? Still, his master was at least happy about one thing: someone from their school had made it to the final round. At this point, no one was really expecting Zhang to win the competition. The master simply advised him to stay safe and left. That night, the monkey brought Zhang to a lake. There, it showed him how Shui was lying injured, completely worn out from intense training. It became clear that the final round would be between Zhang and Shui. Still, Zhang went to Shui and gave her medicine to help her recover. The medicine healed her fully, but she knew she needed even more training for the next day. So, she quickly left. By the look of things, it seemed like Shui had started to like Zhang in some way. Finally, the day of the final round arrived. Zhang and Shui stood face to face. Shui showed no mercy. As soon as the match began, she launched a fierce attack. Since Zhang didn't have his magical stick, he couldn't even fight properly. It was almost certain that Zhang would lose. Shui landed blow after blow, severely injuring him. But Zhang refused to give up, even when he could barely stand. Just as Shui was about to land her final, decisive slash, something miraculous happened. Zhang's magical stick suddenly appeared in his hands. With the stick, all his wounds were instantly healed, and his strength returned twice as powerful. Zhang began counterattacking with great speed and force. At that moment, all the masters watching understood, this was the same magical stick the Demon King was searching for. Zhang was about to strike Shui down, but he held himself back. He didn't want to harm her. Instead, he simply dropped his stick. Shui took advantage of this moment and knocked Zhang to the ground, winning the competition. Meanwhile, Lina had been watching everything carefully. She was determined to get the stick at any cost. Then we see the Demon King, who now knew the exact location of the stick. He immediately sent a horde of demons to retrieve it, brutal, terrifying creatures. They attacked the area, slaughtering students mercilessly. There were ghost-type demons, tentacled monsters, and more. The demons killed so many people it was impossible to count. Inside the school, all the masters captured Zhang, blaming him for everything. They decided he must be punished, as he had broken the rules by using a forbidden magical item. Just as they were about to deal with Zhang, students came rushing in, shouting that demons and the Demon King were attacking. They warned that the school would soon be destroyed if something wasn't done quickly. The masters immediately locked Zhang and the magical stick inside a protective barrier and rushed off to respond to the threat. With his students under threat, things looked bad, but then, out of nowhere, Lina arrived. She knocked out the guards and rescued Zhang and his magical stick. And that's when we learned the biggest twist. Lina is actually the Demon King's daughter. She took Zhang, along with the stick, straight to her father. As soon as the Demon King laid eyes on the stick, he tried to pull it toward himself, but since Zhang's blood was bound to it, the stick returned to Zhang. The Demon King was furious. He unleashed his powers to kill Zhang, but Lina, betraying her own father, stepped in to protect Zhang. She was seriously injured in the process. Zhang couldn't watch her suffer. He charged at the Demon King, and right then, a massive war broke out, humans versus demons. All the masters and students gathered to fight the demon army. Zhang and the Demon King were locked in an epic one-on-one battle, and the masters combined their powers to try and help. But when the Demon King used his thunder attack, Zhang finally realized. This is the same power, the one that killed my father. Yes, the Demon King was the one who destroyed Zhang's family. Blinded by rage, Zhang unleashed the full power of his stick, and finally, defeated the Demon King. But as the Demon King lay dying, he warned. That stick belongs to no one. One day, it will control you, just like it did me. Hearing this, the masters grew afraid. They turned on Zhang, believing he could become the next demon. They attacked. Now completely out of control, Zhang began attacking everyone, unable to stop himself. No one could stand against him. Not even Shui. She tried to stop Zhang, but Lina protected her, getting injured again. Finally, with Lina and Tiang both pleading with him, Zhang began to calm down. His rage faded. Zhang realized that as long as the stick stayed with him, he'd always be a danger to others. So, he made a painful decision. He left the school forever, choosing to go far away with Lina, leaving everything behind. With all the demons finally defeated, peace returned to the world and our story ends here.